Peace to all the souls, all my good brothers and sisters. This is the Hood Mystic, representing www.hoodmystic.com. Today we are bringing a new moon presentation, which will be centered in the constellation of Libra. We will be talking about the esoteric and sidereal implications to the new moon. Real quick, if you don't know what new moons represent astrologically, they represent times to set intentions. So we are going to get down into the science of setting intentions, what the particular placements speak to get our intentions just right, so we could manifest exactly what we want and exactly when we need it. So just stick with me as we break down the esoterics, the spiritual, and the occult. I appreciate you vibing with me wherever you may find this video. I hope this video is informative and is able to resonate with you at your deepest level. What I have associated with this video is a cheat sheet, and I'll have the link in the descriptions to that cheat sheet, which is more or less what we're talking about in a nutshell. These videos can get kind of long-winded, and sometimes it's easy for you to lose sight on exactly what I'm talking about. So for that purpose, I will be referring to that cheat sheet during this video and then to conclude it, and then you'll also be able to download it after or during or before, whenever. You'll be able to download the cheat sheet for your reference as we deal with this new moon energy. The sun will be conjunct the moon in Libra, and this marks the halfway point through the zodiac for the sun. And so this new moon represents more or less a reflective, introspective time. Once it gets to this Libra point, it gets to the scales, and you have to then, it's like a weigh station if one is to give a correct analogy. And that weigh station is the feather on one side and the heart on the other. Now, are we caught up emotionally on some things? And if we are caught up emotionally on some things, these things become actual energy blocks to our emotional blockages. So
you still don't get it, do you, amnesia boy? We're gonna have to dig a little deeper. No! Oh, come on, you scream like a girl. Do it like this.
Really understanding how to get past these energy, emotional blocks, because we're focused on our emotions too much. We deal with the concept of inner stability. And inner stability moves you outside of your emotional reactions. Because when you think about emotions and reactions, that's basically what we're talking about. Anything can happen to you, but how you respond is the 100% bottom line. There is no set way to respond. So if you feel that you are validated to feel negative because everybody around you feel negative, but you're the one that's holding this emotional forbearance, it's time to let that thing go. And how to let that thing go specifically is learning how to be stable inner. So here we are dealing with the concept of inner stability. So by listening to your emotions constantly, if you're doing that, you're not being active in your life. And if you're not being active in your life, you're being stagnant, you're dealing with blockages. So it's always a point of esoteric sciences, occult sciences, metaphysics, where people are trying to get healing and things of that nature and possibly turned off because they're feeling like, hey, it must be some very, very complicated stuff, in order for me to get free. So therefore, I'm not going to deal with it. But the reality is simple gets the job done. Etymologically, simple just means outside of duality, meaning that if it's simple, that means you can get it done. If it's complex, you may or may not get it done, just depending on how complex it is. We'll reach a limit or a point of this shit is too hard or I can't do it. But if, your spirituality and your actual attention setting is simple, then you'll easily manifest what you need at a simple level. So this talk will be speaking to how things rise up and why things rise up. Now, things rise up not for the fact of it to make our lives horrible, for us to suffer, and for us to have all of these negative emotions. 10 times out of 10, things rise up for us to properly analyze it. And once we properly analyze it, observe it, understand it, we can put it in its proper place. So if that's not a tactic that's not working for you, like you can't analyze it, it's not making any sense, be sure to utilize the power of meditation to get answers, the modality of channeling the divine to get answers, and be conscious about it, be conscious about it, because there's an interesting thing that's happening as far as my point of view when it comes to information. When I'm coming to the realization that I think I've always had this realization, but even more so, it seems like the more that I learn, there's even more to know.
There is an ancient proverb that says, it's very difficult to find a black cat in a dark room, especially when there is no cat. Science, we generally are told, is a very well-ordered mechanism for understanding the world, for gaining facts, for gaining data, that it's rule-based, that scientists use this thing called the scientific method, and we've been doing this for 14 generations or so now. And the scientific method is a set of rules for getting hard, cold facts out of the data. I'd like to tell you that's not the case. So there's the scientific method, but what's really going on is this. And it's going on.
What? Hey, easy with that face of meat. Oops.
Kind of like that. So I began to realize by the end of this course that the students maybe were getting the idea that we must know everything there is to know about the brain. That's clearly not true. It's either when I go to a meeting, after the meeting day is over and we collect in the bar over a couple of beers with my colleagues, we never talk about what we know. We talk about what we don't know. We talk about what still has to get done, what's so critical to get done in the lab. Indeed, this was, I think, best said by Marie Curie, who said that one never notices what has been done, but only what remains to be done. This is the stuff that's exhilarating and interesting. It is, if you will, the ignorance. That's what was missing. So I thought, well, maybe I should teach a course on ignorance, something I can finally excel at, perhaps, for example. Because ignorance has a lot of bad connotations, and I clearly don't mean any of those. So I don't mean stupidity. I don't mean a callow indifference to fact or reason or data. The ignorant are clearly unenlightened, unaware, uninformed, and present company today, except that often occupy elected offices, it seems to me. That's another story, perhaps. I mean a different kind of ignorance. I mean a kind of ignorance that's less pejorative, the kind of ignorance that comes from a communal gap in our knowledge, something that's just not there to be known or isn't known well enough yet or we can't make predictions from. The kind of ignorance that's maybe best summed up in a statement by James Clerk Maxwell, perhaps the greatest physicist between Newton and Einstein, who said, "Thoroughly conscious ignorance is the prelude to every real advance in science."
And the more that I learn, the amount of information that I just simply don't know or won't know just continues to grow. And then being in a space where I'm okay with that, I don't have to be the person that knows everything. I don't have to be the person that speaks to every problem. I could just focus in on what I do best or what I know works for me and bring that to the world. Ultimately, this new moon signals relief by utilizing the power of the Great Womb of Chaos. Now, the Great Womb of Chaos could seem like a bad place if you're preoccupied with bad things and fear and melancholy and all of these particular things based upon mind control, etc. and so forth. So, like the last new moon video, I'm gonna come back again, and I think I'm gonna do this every new moon video. 3 days before and up to 5 days after the new moon, the media, energy vampires, you name it, is looking for ways to pull on your energy. Now you just have to be mindful or smart enough to pull yourself out of them zones. So for this new moon, we want to talk about meditation, but we want to talk about why we need to meditate. Because meditation is just like a word that people use, throw it around. Like, what does it mean? What are you talking about? Meditation should be utilized for the things that you consciously can't wrap around in your brain, whatever it is. You know, you might need to take some time away from the conscious mind to go within yourself, whether it's meditating before you go to sleep and giving your issues or problems to the subconscious mind. Because this new moon is based upon the ability to make you whole. So we're using meditation as a specific way to be whole, as opposed to not meditating and being in our brain and representing fragmented. So that fragment of not dealing with our whole self or our soul self is sorrow, pain, and discord, melancholy, fear, unhappiness within itself. It's just a extension. All of those words are just extensions or symptoms for not dealing with your soul not dealing with your soul primarily and as an actual focus for utilizing dark moon energy. The longer the meditation is sustained, however, throughout this new moon and subsequent days, because we're referencing the hijack, that allows you more energy. Because what we're dealing with is a debilitated sun. The sun is debilitated in Libra, meaning that it is just weak. It's not as strong as it would be if it were in Aries, if it was in Leo, or if it was in Sagittarius, because those are fire signs and the sun is the epitome of fire energy. Libra is an air sign. Libra is the wind. The sun can get lost in this particular space, or the wind just simply takes over the sun. And in this instance, that does not mean because the sun is weak that our lives are over. Our lives is over. It just simply means that the moon's energy takes center stage and allows us to tap into our feminine nature, i.e. meditative Zen-like state. And so from this space, this is our power. This is how we tap into our wholeness. The problem is 99% of us are on autopilot and based upon this sun worship. So the sun being in a debilitated state, it freaks you the heck out. So understanding that there's no need to be freaked out, this is the time to really do ritual to begin to align with the energies that we want to bring into manifest. Is just a normal cycle of life. Therefore, these times could be understood as opposed to feared or having you feeling like you're going crazy. Potential is not meant to be scary. It's meant to be a particular breakthrough into new, more positive life. So the dark moon is not a time for you to be afraid of life. The dark moon is actually a time to utilize this particular energy and bring some enjoyment, laughter, satisfaction, etc., etc. So since the sun is debilitated in Libra, directly opposing this energy is Uranus in the planet of Aries. Now, this is a fire sign like we were referencing. Uranus in Aries has the energy of the tower.
Can't trust anybody. I say destroy the cosmos, ask questions later.
Now, this is a pervasive energy that may be within the spheres of our consciousness for the next 7 to 10 years, where these overall older structures that we have grown so fond of, that we've, grew up on, whether it's the full houses and the step-by-steps and the family matters and thinking that life was supposed to be this particular way, but now we're grown up and coming into the realization that life is a much different place. those old structures that used to sustain us no longer sustain us. So now it's time for us to begin to, we can't build new structures on top of the old structures. The first thing that needs to happen is the destruction of the old structures. But we have to be mindful that destruction of old structures is not a finite particular idea. It is an ultimately idea that we say, if this old structure is being destroyed, then we're coming on top of it with new energy. So the acceptance of new energy, the acceptance of new dimensions of consciousness and what they really show up like in the physical world. And you are able to navigate this physical world by remembering that you are not a part person, you are a whole person. You have a soul, you have emotional responses, you have intuition, and if you're not fully engaging with them, that's the issue that we're dealing with. You know you're changing overall with this energy when your reactions are different. The same thing could be happening, but you just feel totally different about it. And that's great, because you know that your life is going to be shifting and changing, not too far behind it. So we also want to deal with particular principles when we're dealing with new moon intentions. And these principles, very simple stuff. I think a good word to really focus in on is the word excellence. By the intent being excellent, then that ensures that every manifestation from that intention will be excellent. But it's not like an easy one-off pill. This represents your conduct, your behavior, and your actions centered on excellence. And if these things are in alignment, then your manifestations will be in alignment. It is like to say, like, your internals are excellent, but now getting your walk and your business in alignment with that excellency, that brings the manifestation. So we're dealing with new moons, we're dealing with setting intentions, and I'm just trying to give you some life hacks to really get your intentions in order. You might listen to somewhere else and it's extra extravagant, spend $75 to get in this pool, you know, all this extra stuff. My idea, my theory with this, since the sun is debilitated, is that the simple ideas work for you, and the primary concepts, whether it's excellence, prosperity, luxury, whatever your mind is at, whatever you deem as a primary feeling that you want to manifest, gratitude, these are all ideas that you want to bring into this new moon, as these things are assuredly going to be manifested. Not 14 days, but 28 days. I'm thinking for the next 6 months, this energy will kind of linger on. So if you're in your head about this type of stuff, remember, your heart is always there. Your heart always has your back. Another way that you can kind of deal with things that you can't always wrap your mind around, what I tend to do is send it to my heart. This is another level of using your body and esoterics to deal with the inner turmoil. To, instead of coping and processing, using your heart, you're allowing yourself to heal just by sending energy to your heart. And however that looks for you, however that feels, when you are using spirit to use your body, whether it's dancing, whether it's writing, whether it's performing, whether, you know, however spirit chooses to use you, allow yourself to be used by that spiritual dimension. So like I said earlier, this second decan of Libra, it really does represent the womb of chaos. In the womb of chaos, another level of it is bringing your true feelings to the surface. Now, if your true feelings are your true feelings, then, you know, you have nothing to worry about. But if you've been for the past 6 months, you know, holding stuff in, not keeping it real, with your workplace, not keeping it real with your partner, the womb of chaos is gonna, spin that all around. And the interesting thing about the womb of chaos is not gonna be like extremely direct. It'll always be some weird anomaly, some weird exchange of events that are in alignment with your true feelings, but maybe you didn't position it that way, but it just so happened to be that way. And that's more or less representing the womb of chaos. And this could be positive or negative. You could be trying to make a situation positive when internally you feel negative. The womb of chaos is going to show you the negativity that you're holding within. And so you may feel like you're a good person and you're trying to do the right thing, and you're attaching to this mental idea, whether it be like, I gotta work and do all of this slavery stuff, or I gotta be in an unfulfilling relationship for the kids, or all of these types of ideas that we give ourselves. The idea is now, if you're not true about that stuff, be prepared for the truth to rise up. And you as an esoteric, you as somebody who are striving to understand the codes and symbols of life, you can understand it for what it is and then begin to make those necessary changes if you deem that you need to make those necessary changes, or you can continue to kind of keep fooling yourself, however you want to play it. But we're dealing with the third decan of Libra. We're dealing with the heart versus the feather. So if the heart is heavier than the feather, then Anubis is not going to let you pass. So I don't know how that's actually going to work out for you. I can definitely tell you, if you just kind of let things appear how they're supposed to appear and learn to not question it, Anubis is going to let you choose whatever door you want to go through. And that's the kind of reality that I want to be in. So whoever's riding with me, I'm going to accept it. Whoever decides not to, I'm going to accept that as well. But go ahead and hit a like if this information is, one, engaging, entertaining, you're able to learn from it, you're pulling from it. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Now, Mars in Virgo is square Saturn and Sagittarius. Mars in Virgo is the energy of utilizing the modality that you can't be wealthy without friendships and networking and promoting positive networks. Like, you gotta be somebody that could be relied upon, and the energy exchange that goes into creating wealth, all of that requires other people. We have that basis. Square Saturn and Sagittarius is like, Saturn and Sagittarius is not the type of energy that you want to have with friendships and business. Like the concept of you can't mix friends and business, or you might be doing things out of love or doing things out of survival, and because of this, you're being used. So Mars square Saturn then puts you in a kind of quandary. The quandary is resolved by having people that you could get wealthy with versus having people that can take advantage of you, okay? Now, this is some real structure building your life type of stuff. And if the structure isn't waterproof, like if the roof is letting water down and it costs more money to replace the roof than it is to just kind of tear the house down and build a new house from the ground up, it's better to just build the house down and like just build it over from this point. Therefore, you don't have to kind of figure things out. You can kind of build it up how you want to build it up. Now, this is contrary to like home improvement.
Not a word you want to hear in this house. Phone went dead. Oh my God, what happened? Well, looks like Dad just yanked away all our phone privileges. Tim, why couldn't you wait till Dennis got here?
I waited 3 hours. I can only wait so long having a hole in the wall. There's Dennis. He'll fix it. Don't worry about it. I'll get some drywall patch. Be all right.
Hi, Gino.
Oh,
Hey,
well-
Tim, I just dropped by to bring Dennis his lunch and say, what the hell happened?
Where you patching things up and, you know, putting buckets down everywhere to collect water when it rains, and it's freezing in the wintertime and ain't no circulation in the summertime. Like, you may have gotten used to negative things and been comfortable in negative situations. Mars and Virgo square Saturn and Sagittarius is, if the foundation is to be set and move forward, make sure you building with people that's trying to build at the same level or beyond the level that you trying to build at. So let's deal with the idea of spawning. Spawning represents an instinctual process that we have of growth and expansion. Without thinking about it, we naturally grow, we naturally expand. This is representative of unlearned behavior, meaning nobody has to teach us how to grow. The learned behavior, the things that we value so much, they don't compare to the things that we may never learn. It's kind of profound if you kind of sit back and think about it. But in this space, this is another reason why meditation trumps overthinking, letting your emotions keep you stagnant. Neptune is at a space where it speaks to acceptance as a motivation to move forward or to stay where you're at. If you're going to stay where you're at, there's power in acceptance. Because even in that space, you would change your life quicker than you fight or dread where you're at, right? This is the power of the serenity prayer. Whatever your physical surroundings are that you can't change in the moment, but they may bother you, learn to accept this. And this is Saturn. So Neptune sextile Saturn is learning to accept our physical situations, accepting them through change if we can change them. But then the things that we can't change, we're accepting that shit too, because we're at another level when it comes to understanding our spiritual modalities and knowing how to utilize the new moons. If we're going to utilize the power of the new moon, we're not going to be swayed by the external, but we're going to be motivated and driven by the internal. On the other side, we have Pluto sextiling Mercury and Venus. And Pluto, the planet of transformation, is going to move forward from all of these subjugations, because Pluto and Saturn in the same area of Sagittarius, where the transformation is in this slave-master relationship. Even in the Bible, it says the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Now that's happening, right? That's happening in your own personal life. You're just slow to realize that. So the sextile then is you being quicker to realizing that. Understand that your peace, prosperity, and wealth is not found in slavery type conditions. It's just not gonna happen. It never have happened. And you know, you might be that one person that hit the lottery, but I wouldn't bet on it. I would bet on separating from oppressive energy, coming into your soul, being whole, and seeing how that thing works out for you. Seeing how these new moon rituals work out for you, all right? If you find yourself in that position where you're working hard, saving your pennies to add up to $1 million, you know, utilize this new moon. If you like it, then I love it. But if you got a problem with it, utilize this new moon to shake yourself out of that oppressive relationship and workspace by understanding that I am changing my life. I am whole, and from this wholeness and this new moon and this ritual practice, watch what happens.
But the most popular and much interesting is the episode of Narakasura. Narakasura was born to Varaha, an avatar of Vishnu and goddess Earth. As he was born with the qualities of a demon, goddess Earth feared that he might be killed by Vishnu in future. So she pleaded Vishnu not to kill Narakasura at any cost. Vishnu thought for a while and said, "Okay, I will grant a boon. Except you, no one can kill Narakasura." Goddess Earth was so happy to hear this. She was confident that she would never kill her son. As the days passed by, Narakasura grew powerful. Even the Indra couldn't defeat Narakasura. They all went to Lord Vishnu to protect them from Narakasura. Lord Vishnu assures them that the end is near for Narakasura. Soon, Lord Vishnu took the form of Sri Krishna and Goddess Earth was born as Satyabhama. Meanwhile, Narakasura continued his evil rule. He tormented the rishis and challenged the kings. On one such occasion, he had to face Sri Krishna himself. Sri Krishna knew that the death of Narakasura was in the hands of Goddess Earth, so he did not stop Satyabhama. When she wished to see the battle between Krishna and Narakasura started. They both fought fiercely. After a while, Narakasura was able to make Sri Krishna unconscious with one of his weapons. Then Satyabhama herself fought with Narakasura. She courageously faced him and aimed her arrows at him. At last, Narakasura has fallen for the arrows of Satyabhama. That day was called Naraka Chaturdasi, and people celebrated the occasion with lamps and crackers on the next day, which is Diwali. Diwali itself means a row of lamps. Diwali was celebrated not just by Hindus, Jains and Sikhs too observe Diwali for their own reasons. The last Tirthankara of Jains, Vardhamana Mahavira, has attained Nirvana on this very day. People also worship Goddess Lakshmi on this day. She is believed to visit the house of her devotees on this day. In fact, another name for Diwali is Lakshmi Puja. The Marwadis give a lot of importance to Lakshmi Puja on this day, and their new year in fact starts with Diwali. Everyone wakes up early on the day of Diwali, does a head bath, wears new clothes, spend the day with delicious sweets, pray for Goddess Lakshmi, lights the lamps at the sunset, and starts firing the crackers. The dark night of Amavas glows brightly with the lamps lit on Diwali. The fireworks of Diwali is said to decrease the chill of the winter and destroy the insects that flourish at that time. As the night gets darker and the crackers calm down, children go to their beds in a happy mood. That stays until the next Diwali.
Deepa Valley, known as the Festival of Lights in India, is a puja or ritual worship of gift giving and many shining oil lamps to signify victory over darkness within and the radiant awareness of one's own inner light. This new moon, this is a good time to buy gifts for those people that you really care about and utilize this as a symbolism to show how you want the universe to give to you freely and unexpectedly. You know, 'cause it's not Christmas time. You just giving gifts for the new moon. You understand? That's a ritual. And in doing that, you're letting the universe know that, okay, this is what I want in return. And it don't even have to be big. My thing is, I'm gonna buy a gift for everybody in my family. Spend like $5 a person and thinking buy something that, you know, specifically that each, like one of my children needs, something that my wife needs. It's not about money. It's about ritual participation. And so this really represents the dark moon energy, the intention, and the understanding that what you do in the dark comes to light. In your darkest moments, your soul shines the brightest. So in the dark moon, and a debilitated sun, this is a dark time. But dark does not always mean bad. Dark could mean simply a time to set and plant that seed in the darkness of the soil, right? That's what we're dealing with. The sun and the moon near their weak zodiacal points to a deep debilitation in the early sidereal Libra and Scorpio respectively. This festival's main day always falls yearly on a dark moon, where this convergence of factors as winter draws nearer make this a time when rituals that invoke brightness, hope, warmth, and abundance are mentally balancing, uplifting, and naturally timely. So that little paragraph was everything that I was trying to say in this past however long with all these different clips and things, but I just like to stretch it out, I guess. Because if I was to say it that simply, I don't think it would even make sense. But knowing that the sun is at its weakest point allows you to use it as its strength. By practicing rituals on the new moon as a preparation for what is to come, allows you to bring this all into manifestation during this time and leading up to the full moon. We have another sighting of Lakshmi. Today, October 28th, is dedicated to Lakshmi Deepavali, the goddess of prosperity, generosity, and beauty. Traditional elements of Deepavali celebrations that evoke and attract Lakshmi's bountiful presence, including visiting with family and community, giving to charity, the sharing of sweets, beautifying personal adornment, and wearing brand new clothes, cleaning the home, lighting of lamps by the open threshold of one's festivity, decorating your front door to allow Lakshmi to enter the home effortlessly. So, in summation, this new moon falls in line with the Swati Nakshatra. This nakshatra represents breeze, wind, and the elimination of negativity. It inspires things like good going, independence, delicacy, and fragileness. Swati is for eliminating negative influences, but imagining that you have no negativity is what allows negativity to grow. The same as if you had a garden and imagining that no weeds was there, so you ain't have to do nothing to prevent them. And once they came, you ain't have to get rid of them because you got a super garden and weeds can't touch it. So from this perspective, you can see how weeds can take over your garden through this arrogance. Through this arrogance that since I'm doing this or that, I shouldn't have problems. But that's not the energy that we're working with. Whether problems come or not, we're going to deal with the problems, but we're also going to be proactive and preventative to the problems in our lives. One of the main reasons I utilize spirituality in my life, and it's a focus in my life, because I love its preventative problems when it comes to issues and problems. I know that there are so many things that I haven't experienced based upon being 100 with myself. Like things that I never even experienced because I'm so deeply ingrained to the spirit that if I wasn't, I probably would be experiencing some of the things because I haven't invoked the preventative measures of spirit by utilizing the power of intentions of new moons.
Oh, you still don't get it, do you, amnesia boy? We're gonna have to dig a little deeper. Oh, come on, you scream like a girl. Do it like this.
This new moon is tied to the tarot card, the Three of Swords. And how these cards relate is based upon that the Three of Swords rules the second decan of Libra, which the new moon falls in. So this brings up a clear issue that we need to deal with. This doesn't have to be a negative thing though. a way to think about it is that once this problem is gone, peace and prosperity can reign in your life as much as it wants to. Removing blockages is great. Living with blockages is what's horrible. So this energy speaks to your dreams and the people closest to you that you'll allow to minimize you. And they'll minimize you not in direct words like speaking down on your dreams, but they won't support you. Their actions won't support you. They'll be dismissive by inaction, So true sorrow and pain is not that though. True sorrow and pain happens when we are disconnected from the soul, when we lack meditation in our lives, and everything else is a subsequent reason for that. So to resolve all of the residual symptoms of the pain, you don't treat the symptoms, you treat the cause of the symptom. And the cause of the symptom is meditation. So the answer falls in learning how to connect to a soul as a way to connect inherently to the truth. And so during this new moon phase, this is the process that we're working with. Long-term depression due to heartbreak, loss, death, we've all been there, can be resolved by going in the heart, by learning how to center yourself, by learning how to establish inner stability. Being caught up in beautiful illusions, and when those illusions don't show up to be real things, you get mad. Well, a beautiful illusion is still an illusion, and it needs to be wiped away, right? It needs to be washed away. Dealing with the ugly truth, however, allows you to utilize this quote-unquote darkness as a phase or a vehicle towards the light. So understand that this dark moon is a much more powerful time than a full moon. The full moons just get more attention, but we're esoterics. We're dealing with the hidden side. We're dealing with the secrets. We're dealing with the magic, and this is the time. So in conclusion, through the process of inner stability, you are able to deal with what comes to you through logic. And if that doesn't work, go for the meditation. But keep the process simple and don't complicate the rituals. Focus on the excellent intention and actions that breed excellent manifestations. Always remember integrity. Act as if the world is watching you right now. And what would you be doing if all eyes were on you? You understand? And from that space, it'll manifest as such. And whether you want that or not, that's another conversation, right? But ultimately, relief comes from the fact that we all have so much to learn. The trouble comes in and we thinking that we know everything, and we're not able to prepare energetically for the winter because we know that the summer is going to just sustain itself, and life doesn't work like that. Life works in cycles. It waxes, it wanes, and the more we understand those processes, we can kind of stabilize ourselves. So dealing with inner stability in esoterics and astrology is one of the ways that we find inner stability. It allows you not to have your emotions hijacked by external forces. It's because you're doing the work. And even if they attempt to sidetrack you or pull you off, you need to understand that even if whatever plan that conspiracy theorists manifest, your mind is still going to be intact, and they can never take that. So as long as you possess that, you have something that they can never have. And this is the trick, or this is the game that's being played. So in this space, if you want to create something new, learn to throw all of your old jewels in the furnace. Throw them all in the furnace. Learn to create a new jewel to represent your growth. And this growth is going to represent your future. The idea is not imagining that life is problem-free. The idea is that problems could be showing up so you can deal with it. Problems shouldn't be ignored. By facing your problems, you're freeing the way for you to get to a space of purity. And when you plant seeds in a space of purity, with no obstruction, they grow the way you like them to grow. And even though you plant the seed, don't mean that the job is over. You still got to get rid of those weeds, because they'll destroy your manifestation quicker than you could even blink. So don't imagine that weeds don't exist and get careless with your manifestations. Anything holding you back is now time to remove it. Ritualize this new moon by buying you a new outfit, eat your favorite food, spend the new moon with your favorite people, and doing this ensures that you'll manifest these good feelings throughout the next moon cycle and subsequent moon cycles. Like I said, this is a window portal for the next 6 months. So this is the root of setting intentions. This is what I wanted to talk about: the new moon, setting intentions, and how powerful it could be if you utilize this energy. Finally, negative things come to the surface not for you to suffer, but so you can surpass it. I hope you found this video useful. If you want to get a transcript of this video, please use the links in the description. You can read the article, read the print version. Make sure to join us on Patreon, where we're giving monthly moon sign readings, and we're also doing the Friday live readings. And I'm looking for my boy Honcho. We're about to be doing some astrology readings, like duo thing. We got to get that business in order, but as soon as we get that in order, I'll be coming with that. You know, it's wherever spirit be leading me to do videos, I just do them. Really enjoy the opportunity and the space that I'm in, and I appreciate the fact that you guys are listening. Leave a comment, let me know if this resonated with you. I know we deep in the video, people don't usually make it this far, but if you did make it this far, please leave me a comment. Let me know how you felt about the content. Let me know if it made sense. Let me know if you super excited about this new moon that's coming out. Let me know if you got them intentions in order, your rituals set up, you know, all of that good stuff. But that being said, man, I'm signing out. Like, share, subscribe this video. Check out my new book, How to Read Natal Charts Easily and Effectively. The link is in the description. Well reviewed. If you want to learn astrology, break astrology down, I suggest getting this book. It allows you to see astrology in a different way. But yeah, with all that being said, thank y'all, and I'll see y'all on the flip side. Peace.